what's up, everyone? It's Nick here. It's been a while since we did a post-fight podcast. I hope you're all well. I see some comments already. Sorry, just setting up my stuff. Should have done that before I pressed the button, shouldn't I? Yeah, I see some comments already. Good to see you all here. And we have a lot to talk about. But first, I have to say, I've received some more information in the time that I actually set up this podcast. Mei Yamaguchi has indeed been released. I am going to amend the story on SCMP.com. I was told by one that she was still with them under contract, and we purposefully waited for a response on that just so we had it correct. It turns out it was not correct, so I've now been told she's been released, so she can fight in RIZIN, no problem. That is just a mistake on, mistakes happen, so I'm not angry or anything. Sometimes this happens in the industry, and we'll get the right information out. But Anissa Meksen and Jimmy Vienot, I'm told, are still under contract with ONE Championship, so they're booking with Erez Fighting Championship in May in Paris. That would, in theory, I guess, be breach of contract if they are still contracted to ONE Championship. So we'll see how that one plays out. Sorry, my shirt is unbuttoned there. I just rushed back from the gym. Anyway, I'll get into some of these questions and comments. I'm going to be joined, I think, by JHK soon. He's going to jump on. Tom Taylor may also jump on, but he has some family stuff to deal with. It might just be a solo Nick show. I'm sorry, guys, for that horrible prospect. Me talking to you for an hour may not be the most fun thing. I'm just going to open this water. Yeah. But anyway, how are you all doing? Do you like my new setup? I've got this, I wouldn't call it a ring light, but it's the same purpose. But I'm not sure I've mastered the functions of it. I'm going to try and play around with it in a bit. But right now it looks like I'm in the shadows. So I don't know if that's a bit weird. Anyway, I'm going to read some of these comments. Gordon, I just read Mei Yamaguchi's fighting at the upcoming RIZIN event. If she's still exclusive ONE, does that mean talent sharing ONE in RIZIN? Could we see more of this? Yeah, so as I explained, that is just the wrong info was given to me, and I put the wrong info out. So apologies on that. Mei has indeed been released, and she'll fight in RIZIN, no problem. Looking forward to that. I'm happy for her. Sad to see her leave ONE, actually. I thought, she may have still had a couple of fights in her. She's sort of that gatekeeper, I guess, in the atomweight division, but maybe she's already been surpassed or whatever you want to say. She was losing fights. She had 3-fight losing skid with Denise Sambuanga, Julie Mezababa, and Jihin Radzuan, who are kind of the three of the big up-and-comers in that division. So makes sense, I guess, for all parties involved. If Mei leaves, she is 40 years old, and I'm sure fighting in her home country is going to be a huge thing for her. So happy for Mei Yamaguchi, sad to see her go. And yeah, I would like to see cross-promotion between ONE and RIZIN, but they're not interested in it. I've asked Chatri a couple times. He's only interested in cross-promotion with the UFC, which I think would never happen. So I don't see it happening, but RIZIN and Bellator, I love those cross promotions, and any cross promotion is always fun, isn't it? But I think it would be really good to see some ONE and RIZIN cross promotion. But don't count on it happening anytime soon. Anyway, what happened to Leon? Colleen Hansos. Leon's got his own thing going on. I'm actually thinking of reaching out to him again, see if he wants to come back into the fold, but who knows? A few people have, since the pandemic ended, shall we say, when life came back to normal, it's been a bit more difficult because people now can leave their houses and not all stuck inside. They don't all want to just do podcasts and give up their free time. Everyone's got to make money doing their own thing. So I've certainly I've lost a few people since life got back to somewhat normal over the last year and a half, or maybe a bit longer if you don't live in Hong Kong. We finally dropped masks here. I'm not wearing a mask, and I wasn't earlier outside. No more masks in Hong Kong after 3 years of masks. That's great. Just like a year and a half after everywhere else did it. I'm very happy because when it gets hot here, it's pretty unbearable with a mask on. Anyway, any questions you have, please do throw them in there. I'm on my own at the moment, so I don't have anyone to throw banter with back and forth. But I suppose the main talking point here was going to be, yes, Meksen and Jimmy Vienot. If you haven't heard, they are booked with Ares Fighting Championship, May 11th in Paris. But ONE Championship is telling me they're still under contract. So we can look at it quickly and what that would mean. They are both going to fight in MMA, which is maybe the interesting point, because in ONE Championship they are Jimmy and Vienot is Muay Thai and Anissa does both. I suppose they're on Super Series contracts. I don't know how the contracts work, but perhaps there is some sort of wording, about that doesn't include MMA, so that's why they are maybe thinking they can fight another promotion with MMA. I don't know. I definitely know that Anissa's not been released and Jimmy Vienot has not been released. So let's go through them one by one. Anissa, we knew what happened with Stamp. She got frustrated in January when she found out that she would not get there would not be a decision if the fight went 4 rounds. So, it was MMA. Sorry, it was Muay Thai and MMA, Muay Thai and MMA, 4 rounds, and then there would be no winner if it went the distance, because it's pretty hard to score fights on mixed rules. So she then realized she wasn't going to get a win bonus if that scenario happened. So that was what annoyed her, and she has a contract which says a check for showing up, a check for making weight, yada yada, and then a check for winning, and then the possible bonus. So she felt they didn't communicate that to her, and then I asked Stamp Fairtex about it in Bangkok last week, I want to say it was, or week before, sorry. And then she also said she didn't know that there was that rule. Oh, JHK's just jumped on here. Let's throw him in. Hello, John. How are you doing?
Good.
Good to see you, man.
All
Thanks
right.
for calling me. I was on my own.
I was
Tom's.
confused. I was waiting for the link, but
Oh,
I forgot that I could just hop in.
yeah, my bad. I was because I actually confused Tom, because the Eastern time has gone back an hour as well, hasn't it? So
Already? Nah, that's this weekend, this Sunday.
no, I think it's been like that for a while, but I haven't done a podcast for a while. So
Nah, I
he's
don't think
like
so.
13. Well, they're 13 hours back, right? So I kept thinking it was 12, and then I
Hmm.
set this thing up for the wrong time, so Tom's busy, but he may jump on if he's finished anyway. How are you doing, John? I was just telling everyone that actually Mei Yamaguchi has been released. I've been told by ONE they've changed the information they gave me. She's been released, which makes sense. So I'm going
Well,
to change the. But they're telling me that Meksen and Vienot are still under contract.
May, it seems like her her time with the organization has has run its course, so to say, right? And she's been with them for the longest, right? She's been there since the beginning. She's, one of the originals, right? The one of the She fought for the title. She was the first one, right? Against Angela Lee, if I'm uh if I'm saying it right. But yeah, with May, and she's not a young fighter either, you know what I mean? What is she, like, in her late 30s now?
She's 40, I think. Yeah.
She's 40, right? So, you got to bring in the new blood. You're a promotion. The promotion's been around for a while now. You can't just keep everybody around forever just because of loyalty. You gotta make money. You gotta bring in the new crop, and I'm pretty sure her purses are pretty hefty as well. And when you sign prospects, you don't have to pay them as much, and they're hungrier, and you get an opportunity to develop them. So I see why, you know what I mean? But then it's not like she's lost, and she can't have an opportunity anywhere else. I mean, she lands right in RIZIN. RIZIN's a phenomenal organization, and it fits right for her. You know what I mean? They've got a bunch of atomweight fighters there. They got a pretty decent atomweight division as well, and let's see how far she goes over there. She's always been super nice, always been a very respectful. You've probably interviewed her in the past as well. You've probably been around her, right? She's great.
Yeah, I love Mei, and I I was just saying earlier before you jumped on, I'm sad to see her go actually, because like you said, she's one of the OGs. She fought for the inaugural atomweight MMA title, lost to Angela Lee, and then fought her again. And some people think she won either one or both of those fights, and they were very close, you know. And Mei has 6 wins in the division, and she's fought everyone really. And I think she's now being positioned as she was being positioned as a bit of a gatekeeper. So let her go to RIZIN. I think, you know, she probably wants to fight Japan, right? And she probably not got too much long left in her career. So I think both parties win. All parties win.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of good matchups in RIZIN for her as well. Yeah, you know, she's had classics, right? Especially the fights with Angela Lee. Um, but it's time for the new breed, right? There's a new crop of fighters coming in, and we got to see what the division has for us. Do you think Angela Lee ever comes back though?
Um, I think so. Yeah, I've thought about this many times, and uh, I think seeing Adrian compete in the high school wrestling competitions he was in, he won the state championship last month, and it was great to see all the Lee family out supporting him, and I think it was the first public showing they had, and it looked like they weren't letting this horrible, disastrous tragedy, you know, really ruin them. I think they were putting on a brave face, and I think it was the first step towards perhaps seeing them like cope with the horrible tragedy they went through, and you know, start coming to terms with it and moving on in their lives, because that's what it's about. And you can't, you never know how someone's going to move on in life after, you know, when they're grieving. It's a different process for everyone, but to me, it looks like a positive first step. But I don't think it's going to happen soon, and
Yeah,
it might
it's
be an
gonna.
interim title situation. Yeah,
Yeah, I think they should. You know, what I mean, I think that they should just let. I don't know if you want to like have them relinquish the title, but if they need time away, just kind of just like keep them out of the headlines. You know what I mean? Just keep them away from even having belts. Just like separate them from competition, because like when you have someone that's a public figure, it's different, I think, from regular people, right? Because when you return to the public eye, and let's say they do return to fighting, they have to kind of answer these questions, right? They have to face these types of questions when they get back. You know what I mean? Because reporters are going to ask them. It's part of the game, right? As an athlete, as a public
yeah.
figure.
I mean, you're
So
just reading my mind. I was thinking about this, if not today, yesterday. Just how are they going to deal with being asked those questions? Yeah, and it's you can't tell, you can't ask people not to ask certain things. It's there. Certain reporters might be a bit more sensitive and not ask about it anyway. But I think from what Angela was saying, she was getting people calling private detectives to look into it, and I don't think the American media are pretty sensitive. They're going to look
no,
under every root and branch and try and make you feel miserable. So
that's probably
I,
TMZ. I can
yeah,
guarantee you
yeah,
it's TMZ, right? TMZ is notorious for that. They even knew that Kobe Bryant was dead before their family
yeah,
knew that Kobe Bryant and his daughter, and that whole helicopter situation. They knew that everybody was dead on that helicopter before the families knew. That's how crazy it was, right? Like it's it's madness. I know like you're part of the media and I'm kind of part of the media or whatnot, but it's like that there's a line, right? And TMZ, they don't have a line, dude.
no,
They're all about news. They're all about being first. They'll pay the money, right? They don't care. And you know, that's what they do, man. But yeah, if they come back, they have to face the questions. People are gonna ask. It's it's guaranteed, right? So let them grieve. Let them have their time away. Let them, you know, be with their family and leave them alone and let them live their life like a normal family would, like go out to sporting events and support each other, you know what I mean? And then when they're ready to be in the public eye, then that's when they come back, right? And I don't think the promotion should push them to come back. I don't think anybody should be demanding them to come back. They come back when they come back. If it's 1 year, if it's 2 years, the crazy part about it is they're so still young. You know what I mean? They're extremely young for someone for two athletes that've been around for a long time. So they could go away for 3 years and still come back and have a second leg of their career in their prime. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you want them to be in a place, a mental space where they can talk about it. I think before they come back, they shouldn't come back. If they're not ready to talk about it, then how are you going to be able to focus on what you need to do anyway, right? So I think
Yeah.
if they come back, they'll be prepared. And anyway, it's. I'm not expecting it this year, anyway. And
Yeah, I'll see in the comments. He's talking about Stamp Anderson winner versus Ham Isuki winner for interim belt. I don't know about that, but I could see maybe. I mean, it's hard to. I don't know. Like to me, I think Ham should be fighting Stamp. But did they fight already?
Ham and Stamp did not fight. No,
They did not, right?
Ham just fought Denise twice, and then
That's right. So
they lined her up with Itsuki, and then Itsuki didn't make weight. So
yeah, so like that's a whole shit show right there, right? But I think Ham and Stamp would be a great interim title fight if that kind of lined up for them perfectly with these two fights. If Stamp won and Ham won, and they wanted to do that, I think it would be great to see. I mean, I'm pretty sure Ham wants to compete. I mean, for a title. I think that's why she came to ONE Championship, is to become the champion. So
yeah, I totally agree with you guys, and I don't think it's insensitive of them if they do an interim belt. I think
no,
it's if people are going to understand, no one's going to say anything. So I think it was a bit too soon to have that chat when the news of Victoria's death happened, but we are. It's been 2 months at least, so I think eventually one are going to have to think about this, and what would you do with lightweight as well? I think there's plenty of fights you could do for that belt. You've got
yeah.
Daggy there. You've got that new guy Halil Amir. You got Sagid. Yeah, Sagid's probably going to be, if they did an interim match, I think Sagid's in the mix, isn't he?
Yeah.
Khabib's boy. So plenty they could do. Welterweight, you've got Soldich and Murad, and then I think Soldich is fighting Kazakhstan, isn't he? Yeah, in Colorado. So they'll probably try and do Soldich and Ramazanov again. Anyway, let's see. Is it confirmed that Denise Samwanga and Julie Mezabar will fight March 24? Brian Lucero asking. They're actually in April, Brian, I think. I'm just going to double check. But I think they're going to be on the next Bangkok card, which is April 24th or something like that in Lumpinee Stadium. So I'm just checking. We put a post up on it on our Instagram. So Tom, yeah, April 22, Bangkok, One Fight Night 9. Wow, that's a mouthful. One Fight Night 9. Yeah.
And then ONE Friday fights, right?
Yeah.
That's
Where do you
another.
stand on that? I just want to call it ONE Lumpinee.
I like ONE Lumpinee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just keep going. You know what I mean? ONE
Yeah.
Friday fights is just too long, right? And then you got Fight Night as well, which kind of
Yeah.
sounds similar. Is it too late to turn back?
No, never. They changed from Prime Video to Fight Night after 5 events.
Oh, that's right. Right. I don't know, man. That's just weird, to me. Is the names, you know what I mean? It's just we went from just like these weird names for every event to like now we just got these weird names for these events, right? It's just I'd like the Fight Night, the ONE Fight Night. It's fine with me as long as they continue with it, right? And then yeah, ONE Lumpinee sounds really good. I like that sound. It has a little.
Yeah. And it's referencing the
Yeah,
historic stadium.
exactly.
the Madison Square Garden of Asia, as they call it.
Who said that? Where did that come from? I heard that from somewhere.
Mitch Chilson says it
Oh,
every
Milt
show, but
Chilson.
I'm
Okay.
sure he's being told to say it on his headset. So
How terrible it is that Michael Chiavello's gone. Or Chiavello.
yes, yes, he's doing something this week, I think, in Australia.
Yeah. Do you know what the story is with that, or is it just?
Um, no, I've just put. I was told that they haven't got anything for him to do because he's not on Prime. Because Prime they want 3 American voices, right? So you've got Mitch, who's Filipino American, I think. You've got Rich Franklin and then Brent Stover. Those guys are both American. It sounds like they don't want the Australian voice, because they're pushing into the American market. I'm just guessing here.
Yeah, but the thing
So
is, Michael Chiavello, he's been commentating in America for like 20 years for
yeah,
like
it
all kinds of American
makes no sense
promotions.
to me.
Yeah.
I
I
think,
guess Stover, what's his name? Brent Stover?
yeah,
I guess he's most likely someone that Prime Amazon brought in, right? Like,
I don't know who brought him in, but he's CBS guy, and
okay.
he's I haven't heard any of his commentary because I'm always at the show, right, in the stands, so I don't hear how he is. But a lot of people on Twitter are always saying bring back Chiavello, and I miss Chiavello. I think he improves the product, just
Oh yeah.
his
He's a company
knowledge.
man. He's a company man. Like, he will hype you up.
Yeah, and he did a lot of stuff for One during the pandemic. He did so much quarantine, and he basically just lived in a Singapore hotel room for most of the year. And I feel bad for him. I think they owed him maybe a little bit more than that, and the fans miss him. They're still using his voice, in the video packages, and it just gets me more hyped than when I'm hearing the fights and stuff when I'm watching it back. So I hope they can find something for him to do. Even if it's just bringing him in for the Muay Thai kickboxing fights, and then you can
Yeah.
sub him out.
He's way more knowledgeable with that as well. Like, he's done so much kickboxing, so much Muay Thai commentating over the years. Um, yeah, like, I'm not the biggest fan of Michael Chiavello, but like, I understand why he's good at what he does. You know what I mean? And sometimes he is over the top, but that's what makes him him. You know what I mean? Because if he doesn't do that over the top stuff, that's not Michael Chiavello, right? He's known for his catchphrases. He's known for, he's known for like hyping up everything and sometimes overhyping, but that's just what he does, right? And yeah, it kind of sucks where you go from like one extreme to Brent Stover, which is like really like uh what is it? Clean cut type of commentary, right? Which
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know if MMA deserves clean cut type of commentary, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I hear him when he does pieces to the camera. They play it in the arena as well,
Mhm.
so it does sound clean cut. Yeah, he doesn't. I miss Chavello's emotion, and Chavello just loses his mind. He loses
Yeah.
himself in the moment sometimes, and you
You
need
need
that.
that.
You need that.
Yeah, you need that. You do. You do. Going back to the topic that we started this off on is Meksen and who's the other fighter?
Jimmy Vienot.
Vienot. Like, so what's their situation? So they got booked for Aries, but One Championship is telling you that they are exclusive to One Championship.
Yeah. Hang on, there's a bunch of comments here.
All right.
A lot of people seem to like Chavello, so I'll just put them on screen. In
All
case
right.
Mike's watching himself. Yeah, Mike, you got a lot of fans here.
Yeah.
Mitch and Chavello's chemistry had become so good, says Gordon. I agree. Yeah. Stupid to drop the voice himself, says S. Is that you, Chavello, there with the S? I don't know. I prefer Chavello over this new guy personally, says Colleen Hans. And yeah, a bunch of people like Chavello. I do as well. Suba is good though, says Alcy. Yeah, Gianni Suba's doing Friday Fights commentary now with Mitch. So
Yeah.
I
They
like
seem to
Suba.
want to have fighters more. if they're
Yeah,
able to do it.
I remember I watched the first show and I did not know who that guy was they brought in, and he didn't seem to be great. But sorry if I'm criticizing. I
I don't
didn't
even
think.
know who was the
Yeah, I can't
first
remember
show.
his name, but
Yeah. But Suba's done shows before. It's not like his first time doing commentary for one championship. He's done it
yeah,
in the past.
Suba. He used to do the interviews as well during the pandemic,
Yeah.
which Andy Whitelaw does now. Anyway, like you were asking, yeah. What happened with Jimmy? Well, Jimmy's case I don't understand. Meksen's one, is well publicized, but Jimmy Vienot had two fights last year in May and October, I think. And I think he beat Pet Moricott, to be honest. I was surprised Pet Moricott won that. So he had a title fight against Pet Moricott, split decision, and then Tawanchai beat Pet Moricott. So you had the rematch there. Well, not the rematch, sorry. You had like the Tawanchai title shot there. A great story because then Jimmy Vienno beat Nicholas Larson. He got a unanimous decision win. So I don't know why. Maybe he was angry that they put Yusupov against Tawanchai in Bangkok last month. Who knows? Yeah, but I still think if you're Jimmy, you just wait, and now you're probably the next guy in line for Tawanchai easily. So I don't know why he's upset or trying to leave. Who know? I don't know what's going on though. I don't know anything about his
But he's fighting
situation.
MMA, right?
Yeah, he wants to go fight MMA because I think that's the only way they can maybe get out of this contract. Right? They can fight because they maybe have a super series contract which says you cannot do Muay Thai or kickboxing anywhere else. But maybe there's a
Uh,
wording. This is just me guessing. Yeah.
yeah. Well, if you're exclusive, right, that means you cannot fight anywhere else until then you got to look at the details of the contract, like you said.
Yeah.
Is it only for super series? Is it only for kickboxing or Muay Thai? But then I read the article as well, and it says in the article that, or you wrote the article, it says that he's fighting Muay Thai in France or something in the beginning of the month or something.
Yeah. Which that's what confused me even more. He put on his Instagram. Let me try and find this.
So it is very odd because he's number 3 in the rankings too. It's not like it's just some guy that's like middling or just has a couple fights with one championship. The guy fought for the title. He's number 3 in the
Yeah,
world.
and it's not like it's been so long since he fought. They haven't iced him for 2 years
Yeah.
or anything like that. It's been 4 months since he fought, and he's pretty much in line. Yeah, like I said, for a title shot with Tawanchai. So I'm not sure why he's upset. I'd be like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, ugh,
So
sorry, I can't. I don't think I can
is there
show
any
this. But no.
backlash? Is there going to be backlash or anything like that? Because I think the bigger news is Meksen signing with Aries and competing for that promotion.
Yeah. So Meksen's one it makes more sense to me because she's been talking for a while. When I interviewed her last summer a couple of times when I was in Thailand, and we could see her frustration. She wanted to fight Janet Todd for, since she signed with ONE August 2020, she expected an automatic title shot, and I think they should have given it to her. But instead, they had her fight. I think it was Christina Morales on debut, and she smashed her. And then, she played nice, and then she's like, "All right, title shot now." And then nothing happened. Nothing happened. Then eventually, they gave her Marie Rumey, I think, and it was Muay Thai, not even kickboxing. And she's like, "Fine, I'll smash this girl as well." Then she thought, title shot, title shot. Nothing happened. Janet Todd goes and fights, and wins that interim belt, right? In Muay Thai. So she's not even defending the kickboxing belt. So I could see why she'd be increasingly pissed off. And then she fights Dan Kong Banchamek, wins that, smashes her. And still Janet's got to unify the titles now with Alicia, the Muay Thai titles. So they give Anissa Meksen, they give her stamp Fairtex, mixed rules bout, and then they dangle that carrot of an interim kickboxing title fight. And then for the reasons she has said, she dropped out of the mixed rules fight because she didn't think that it was fair to not have the win bonus thing, which it's a long story that, but yeah, and then when the title fight with Stamp then didn't happen, that's when I feel she's like, right, well, I'm out, I'm done. It was the straw that broke the camel's back because but Stamp said, I'm not going to fight her for the title because she dropped out, she was unprofessional. So the whole thing's a mess. I see the problems on both sides. I see everyone's grievances. It's just the whole thing's been a huge mess, and yeah,
It's a
I wish.
complete mess.
Yeah, it's such a
Complete
mess.
mess. I don't know who is mishandling this whole situation with Anissa Meksen, but from someone that has been following it the whole time, it's just, why has she not fought for the title?
Yeah,
Any title yet? It's just, years has passed. When you sign one of the greatest female, kickboxers in the world, like, of all time, in her prime, and she's not fighting for any titles, it's just like, what is happening? Like, who is dropping the ball on
yeah,
this situation? And it seems like her team doesn't understand the contracts either for some reason as well. You know what I mean? Like, they're not reading the contracts clearly. There's a lot of misunderstanding on both sides. But at the same time, she signed contracts with ONE Championship. She can't just say, I'm finished with ONE Championship and I'm just gonna walk away and I'm gonna fight for this other promotion because I don't like what you've been doing. It doesn't work like that. This is business at the end of the day, right? And if you sign contracts to compete for one organization exclusively, you have to stay with that organization. If you go outside and break that contract, you get sued. And I don't
yeah,
know, can't the promotion get sued as well, possibly? That is
yeah.
contracting her, you know what I
So
mean? Like,
you must think that Aries have looked at the contract and thought they've had an ironclad case. I hope they have before they signed her.
well, I think this is what happened. Probably her management told Aries, because that's what usually deals with promotions is the management. Probably the manager told Aries, like, yeah, we could get out the contract, or we're out the contract, and she's open to compete wherever she wants to. And then Aries is like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
don't think Aries is asking to look at the ONE Championship contracts, because I don't think that's allowed at all. Promotions cannot look at other promotions contracts, right?
but
So
they must do some due diligence, surely, because they're opening themselves up now to a lawsuit potentially. And
yeah, that's true. But then I think it's mostly they're just doing it on faith with the
yeah,
management, right? Because they thinking the management is telling them what is facts, and now we're finding out that Aries was lied to by the management. But the promotion is probably not going to come out and say that. But that's what most likely has happened, right? We're not saying it has happened, but there is some kind of miscommunication or misunderstanding, and or somebody has lied to somebody, right? Because you don't just sign a fighter that's exclusive to one promotion. It's like if John Jones all of a sudden went and signed with the PFL. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? Like, that's just an extreme example, but I'm just saying that it's very, very. I'm very interested to see if Anissa gets out of her contract, because it's not like
yeah.
they've been on good terms.
No, I think there's going to be a real bitter divorce now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just sad because I think she's so good and she could have been a huge star for them. I know you're not a wrestling fan, WWE, but back in the day, there was this, Triple H, of course, right?
Oh, of course,
He
yeah.
They had this storyline where he once just awarded himself the title, I think, or he was just given it without even beating anyone to win it.
Oh, the
Uh,
Ronda Rousey situation.
no, I think it was when they split up they split up the roster into two separate rosters for the two TV shows. Around
Uh,
about 2001, I think it was like Raw and SmackDown. So the WWE title went to SmackDown, and then there was no champion on Raw. So the guy in charge of Raw on TV, in the storyline, just said, "I'm going to create a new title, the World Heavyweight Championship, and I'm going to just give it to you, Triple H." I'm half joking, but they should have just given Mex an interim title or something. You know what I mean? They should have said, Right, or they should have lined up someone to fight them.
Exactly.
Go and
You're
find
yeah.
someone, and
Just
then
fight somebody for a belt.
knock someone out on
Yeah.
February 25th in Bangkok last weekend. Give her an interim belt, keep her happy, and
Her
yeah,
first fight should have been for a belt or for a title shot, a title contender bout, right? That her fight should have been for that. There should be no warm up fight, none of that stuff, right? At least win one fight, because that's what One Championship likes to do that, right? With the stars that come in, right, from other promotions. And then if you win that fight, you get a title shot. It doesn't matter how long you wait, just get a title shot and give her the opportunity. If she loses, then she lost, right? There's nothing you can say because they gave her the opportunity. But this thing has been dragged out for so long now, and everybody just doesn't understand why this is all happening. In the last event where she was supposed to fight Stamp, that just became, I don't know, man.
that's a circus. Yeah,
It was a complete mess. And yeah, she just didn't show up. And she in her Instagram post, she explains she's never missed weight. There was no problem with her weight. You know what I mean?
no, not at all.
No, I don't think there was any problem. I just think that she was just angry about how the situation was dealt with.
She
And
was, yeah, and she said it was family issues, and that turned out. I mean, I don't know if that was true or not, but she then later said, "Oh, but this is what happened as well." So
yeah,
I'm just speculating. I don't know if there was a family issue. I felt that was just making some sort of reason she didn't want to talk about what she actually happened, and I I knew this stuff as it was happening, kind of in real time, but it was told to me off record, so I couldn't really say any of it. And then she goes out and says it all in Instagram posts, so it's all
it's
out
also
there now.
kind of happening with Ham too, in a way. You got this established star champion in multiple other organizations, and you're making her fight these, like, the first when she beat Zamboanga, she should have got a title shot in her next fight. You know what I mean? Like, why are you making her fight Hirata? Does that make any sense to you? Look at the rankings.
Yeah, Ham's a difficult one. I yeah, I would have just put her against Stamp, but the Stamp's busy with she had the Meksen stuff, and they just wanted. I'm sure if Hirata had made weight, I think Ham would have beat her, and then Ham probably would have been number one or like lined up for Stamp next. I don't know. I don't think Ham's situation is as bad as some people think, but they definitely could have treated her a little bit more urgently as a star. But now she's in limbo. Yeah,
I
she really
think
is.
it didn't help either of them. It didn't help Ham. It didn't help Zamboanga to fight for a second time.
No,
It
it
did
didn't.
not help
No.
either of them, because now you're in a situation where Zamboanga lost 2 in a row to Ham
Yeah,
and just
but the
put her
second one
back.
was pretty decisive, right? And it was
Yeah,
an
and
awful
it
fight.
put her back like 5 steps, right? If she would have went and fought somebody else after that fight and not did the rematch, I think she would have been in a much better position right now, like closer to the title, right? And then the rematch maybe could make sense for like a title shot or something, right? Against Ham. But now who did she beat in her last fight? Like, it just, I don't even think.
Denise,
Yeah,
she
she
beat
did.
Jihin Radzuan,
Yeah,
I
but
want to
like,
say.
is Gian?
Jihin's like knocking on the door. If she's not already in the rankings, I think she might be like fifth. But she's like one of the up and
No,
comers in
she's
that
not
division.
fifth. Tiffany's ahead of her. Tiffany's number 5 in the
I
rankings.
think I
But
think at the time
Jian's been
Jihin
around.
was fifth then, and she's bounced out now. But
Yeah, she's been around for a while, right? So that was a decent, bounce back win. But I'm saying, like, if she would have went and fought somebody else after the first fight and then came back,
yeah,
much better position. Ham would be, maybe she fought for the title. It's just now it's like very confusing what they're trying to do with each division, because they're trying to like do these super fights that really don't make sense. You know what I mean? Years ago, it did make sense because the divisions didn't have like clear next contenders, right? Or challengers for the title. But now you got all these clear next,
Yeah.
challengers for the title, but now you're trying to do these super fights, which really don't make sense right now. You should
Yeah.
let
I
the
think they
divisions play on.
overcomplicate it sometimes, for sure.
Yeah.
I would prefer if you had. I know they can't do it for some divisions, but I'd like to see top tens and have a really clear path of, because you've got your top fives, but then you've got guys outside the top five, but you don't know where those ones are positioned, and then you'll get like the number 2 ranked fighter in the division taking on someone who's not ranked, and people go, "Oh, they're just fighting unranked," but they might be hovering at number 6 or something, and it's not that bad of a mismatch. But
I think
I would,
all the divisions should have top 10.
yeah, it should be.
Even
And
if
if
they
they
only
don't,
have
then you sign some
one or
people.
two fights in the promotion,
I think it's
if
literally impossible for some divisions like strawweight MMA for the women, and there's not even 10 fighters.
strawweight doesn't have 10 fighters.
I think so. I was looking at it recently, and I'm not sure they even have 10.
Man.
And welterweight men's MMA might be a bit rough.
And then I guess if you can't have a top 5, then you might as well just not even have a rankings, right?
Yeah.
So you just have top 10, because I think right now women's atomweight you could probably have a top 10 there. Lightweight you could have a top 10. Featherweight Muay Thai top 10. Featherweight kickboxing top 10. Featherweight top 10. Bantamweight Muay Thai top 10. You could probably put top 10s for all of the ones that have top 5s. So
Yeah, I
why
think with
would you not?
the Muay Thai, you could easily get top 10s now because you've got Lumpini.
So many. Like there's so many fights going on now. There's guys
Yeah.
coming in and fighting in Lumpini,
Yeah.
like new fighters, like prospects that you really have to pay attention, right? Because some of these prospects could get a shot like into the big show, right? Which is considered the big show, right? The fight night shows or the prime shows. But a lot of these guys that they're signing, they're getting these contracts where they're like, okay, you could fight in Lumpini for 3 or 4 times and see
Yeah.
what you can do. And that means they're going to be able to fight like every month.
Yeah,
maybe
some of them
twice
are
a month.
6 weeks pretty much, right? And they get 5 in every year. Pretty good.
If you're a prospect, why would you not sign like to go fight in Lumpini? Especially if you're in like Southeast Asia or whatnot.
Well, I spoke
It's
a lot
huge.
to the guy who's sort of running that whole operation, and he basically said, yeah, that's the point, is to create this ecosystem that produces top talent for the main roster, shall we say, in ONE. And I think that's a great idea. It's going to take a while, though. He was telling me, to bear fruit. So I give them that. We can't expect immediate results. So it's a positive step for me.
After a year of Lumpini shows, that's going to be what, 50 something shows, right?
Yeah, they should have a few people.
The roster is going to be stacked, right? Like they're going to be able to find some gems. I'm guaranteeing you they're going to be able to find some gems. Some fighters that are just not getting an opportunity to fight, and you have them fight like 6 times in 1 year in Lumpini and just build their record. Let's say they have 5 fights now, 6 times they're 11 fights. They can jump in and into a top 10 if they fight on the big shows, right? I think it's a great ecosystem that they're building, and this year is going to be very, very beneficial for them.
Yeah, for sure. And there's so many people in Thailand who can take a short notice fight, right? And look at this guy who fought Martin. I know it wasn't Lumpini, it was
but he was
Prime
good.
Video.
He was good.
But, yeah, he was going to be on a Lumpini card, and then he was going to fight a guy from Bangtao, wasn't he? And I think George was about to fly in, but didn't go. But
who was he going to fight?
I can't remember the name. It's like a Russian guy or Dagestani guy. I'll find it eventually, but let me look. But yeah, I think George was ready to come and corner him, and he probably would have stayed to watch Fabricio. But yeah, what a great! He took his chance, didn't he? And he went toe to toe with former featherweight champion. He could easily now be signed, I think. And let's see if he can hang. And you've got a potential top 10. If you had a featherweight top 10, he could push to get into that.
Or you just have him fight at Lumpini like 2 more times and see what he can do against and let him get his footing, right?
Anzor Chakayev was the guy who's meant to fight.
Anzor, right? Yeah, I know who that is. He trains with like what's his name? Taisumov. Like he's from like that crew of like a really good wrestler. Very good cardio. very solid fighter. Yeah. So yeah, man. There's a heavyweight that just fought. Did you see that one knockout where he just slammed the
Yeah,
dude?
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that dude's a monster right there. Lawrence Phillips.
Where's he training?
He's training in at Venom in
Okay.
Pattaya. Like, I think from what I remember, his manager was telling me that he signed like a developmental type of deal with One Championship to where he's gonna fight a bunch of times in Lumpini, and then if he does well, then he's gonna get the call up, you
Yeah,
know, because the
I
heavyweight
think
division
that's it.
always need heavyweights, right? So yeah, he's a monster, man.
That's good. And yeah, we could see that's all I want to see. And I think it's the plan. Yeah, ecosystem. Let's produce some talent for but I think one need to get the Asia shows back as they called them, the ones in the evening in Asia. Because
Yeah,
A, they
they're
got
really catering to the US right now.
yeah, but you need those because they
Yeah, you
got too
do.
many fighters who need fights. And then you're
Yeah.
getting situations like this with Meksen wanting to leave and I have a bunch of fighters who are similarly frustrated, and I'm sure that they're trying to keep not say anything because they don't want to be causing trouble. But I think there's so many people you don't see fight for a long time, and I think they get left. They just kind of get forgotten about, don't they? But if you have the Asia shows, A, you can get those fighters on there, and then B, you have something for the ecosystem to create. There's no point having this ecosystem, right? But then there's no space for them to fight anyway, these fighters, because Prime Video is pretty stacked anyway.
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna have to go back to doing those double header things where you have that morning show, then the evening one, and
Yeah,
so
what's
that
the
will give
schedule
Chevello
look
something
like?
to do as well, right? Chevello can commentate the Asia shows. uh,
Did they even like line up the schedule for the first 6 months of the year yet, or is it just up to March?
yeah,
Oh, they got
so
April, they got May, they got June. Oh, I see it now. So they
there's
got
no locations set, but
no, they're all Prime Video.
yeah, there's I this thing changes all the time, so I
Yeah.
wouldn't bank too much on it. But
But the thing is, like, they need to have the shows in Singapore. They need to have the shows in the Philippines. They need to have the shows in Japan. They need to start going to other countries in Asia, right? Or just have shows in Asia. You know what I mean? Like you said, um,
yeah, I feel
Malaysia. Malaysia's a big part over
they
there.
might just kind of fall back on Lumpini a little too much now, and why wouldn't you, right? It's probably a lot easier to run. They just like have a permanent setup there.
Yeah.
Uh
That's not bad either, because everybody can fly into
yeah,
Thailand. Who doesn't want to fly into Thailand to fight,
yeah.
to be honest with you?
But it did, being there for the Prime Video, it was a little bit different. You didn't have that huge stage there. You didn't have all that production
Oh,
value,
that's
which
right. That's right.
it
I
was still
forgot
a great
about that.
show.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. And in some ways, it was maybe helped having a smaller stadium because you got a more intimate atmosphere. Crowd was wild, and you could really hear the noise. Um, and if you need to fill something up at 8 a.m., it's a lot easier to do like 2,000 people than 12,000. So
That's
it
true.
was,
That's true.
but I think if they're doing these Asia shows, like you look at Manila, December, I don't know how the capacity of that place is. I want to say like 12,000 Mall of Asia Arena, but it was full to the rafters. You had people selling tickets outside, like scalpers. It was in demand, and it'd be a shame if they don't go back and do those.
Yeah.
15,000 people, yeah, and the atmosphere was crazy. And I think they could. What I feel they're going to do is maybe 4 shows a year, like in the big stadiums, like Manila, Singapore, Tokyo, and maybe one other. I'm not sure, but maybe 2 in Singapore, 2 in Manila, but and then the rest will be Bangkok or something like that. But I don't know. There's a lot to be seen, but I think there's a danger of doing too many things in Lumpini because it's gonna look a little too pared back. I think it's perfect for the Friday fights shows, right? Smaller arena, more
Yeah.
intimate. But if you're then doing your big pay-per-views there, it's sort of okay, right.
Yeah. The major like big flagship events, so to say, yeah, they need to be in an arena, right? So if they at least just do like one a month, which would be great, right? Like let's say do one a month, like they rotate Singapore with Manila, with Bangkok, maybe Malaysia, you know what I mean? Maybe they could go to Japan, one of those months. But if they just do one a month, I think that's a pretty damn good rotation, right? You got the Lumpinee cards every Friday, and then one major show a month, or maybe two major shows a month. It all depends on what they want to do.
Yeah.
But now they're trying to get into the US, right? So they're gonna see how this US card
Yeah.
stacks up and how that's run, and it seems like that's their focus right now. All these people thinking like, oh, when is one gonna come to Europe? And man, it's gonna be a long time, dude. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
long time. They're focused on the US. They're focused on North America right now, and that's
Yeah.
what they want to do.
I mean, I would like to see long term all the Prime Video cards in the US one a month, and then you do your Asia shows or whatever you want to call it in Asia. So you have two big shows a month. This is completely separate from Lumpini. So I think it might be quite fanciful to think of that happening anytime soon, but I think that would be cool. You
What
can
about
make
the
a separate
Qatar
product.
cards? Are they
Yeah,
doing
I don't know
cards in
what's going on
Qatar?
in Qatar. They're filming The Apprentice there right now, so
Oh, really?
yeah, I'm sure Qatar's going to come into the
How did
mix.
people even get to like apply for that show? Did that even happen? Like it
I
just
think, yeah,
started
they put
filming.
it out on social media
Oh,
a
did
while
they?
ago.
I didn't even see that. Like I was gonna apply just to see if I
Can you
could get on
take a
there.
question, John, if I put it on screen?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
sure.
gotta I really need to go to the bathroom quickly.
All right.
Just chugged
All
a
right,
lot of water.
we got Dana White as Ronald McDonald or Sideshow Bob, Colin Hands. Do you think Australia could be a good market for them to hold events? They have quite a few good Aussie fighters. And it's not so far away. It it's hard to say, you know what I mean? Like when you look at the Australian market, and let's just tie in Australia with New Zealand, right? And you look at the promotions that they have there, like the major promotions recently. You got Eternal, you got Hex, you got XFC, which I don't think they're doing any shows anymore. But there was a bunch of promotions, a bunch of organizations. But right now, I think Eternal's probably number one, right? And they're doing pretty good. They're on Fight Pass. They're producing fighters, phenomenal fighters, and they are sending fighters to the UFC. It doesn't seem like they're really focused on trying to like make any connection with one championship. I know that maybe one or two fighters have gone to one championship from Eternal. I think what one championship should do is kind of connect with one of those promotions, like a Hex, because I know Hex is doing shows. They always have good fighters. I think they have a deal with ESPN in Australia where they put on their shows. Um, well, maybe they should kind of like find like a feeder league, so to say, which is Hex, and then you know what I mean, they could build a name there. I don't think their name is as big. I don't even think like a lot of people really know what one championship is. I think a lot of people that are into fighting watch it, but outside of that, I don't think that they're that popular. Not like the UFC. You know what I mean? The UFC goes there, they're selling out arenas. They've had the biggest pay-per-views ever in Australia, and that's because it's the UFC, and the biggest names are from the UFC. One championship, they would have to, what I mean, spend some time and a lot of energy and a lot of money into promoting themselves, especially with their Australian fighters. They do have some, good Australian fighters in one championship, but it's not like the other countries. You know what I mean? Like Martin's from Australia. What other like champion or ex-champion is Australian or even from New Zealand? It's hard to say, right?
In one championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a market they've for some reason not focused on, and they really should have, because you were there, right? Singapore for UFC. How
Yeah,
many in
they
that
all
crowd
flew
were
in.
Australia? They flew in, you
They
know,
flew in from Australia to watch the Aussies
for
fight.
8 a.m. or
Yeah.
5 a.m. And imagine if ONE had been able to get some top Australian talent a few years ago, and then you need to fill these morning cards. The Australians are the ones you need to. They're mad enough to do it, right? They're
Yeah.
mad enough to
Well, the
come
thing
and
I said while you were gone was that they need to hold hands with like a regional promotion. Someone that could kind of promote, like like what they're doing with in Japan, like Road to One, those kind of like little tournaments, and then that will grow the profile of ONE Championship in the region.
yeah,
But they got to do a lot of work, man. And I think like because there's no champions right now, because if you look at all the champions, they're from all over the world except for Australia.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely talent there, right? So
Oh, a lot of
I hope,
talent.
yeah, I hope they can. It seems like yeah, an own goal for them to not do it. I would like to see more. Yeah, Reese McLaren, as Colleen Hans says, is in the
Yeah.
mix.
John
He's
Wayne
going to
Parr,
fight.
yeah, but Reese McLaren, he's a phenomenal fighter, right? And he's fought for the title, but he wasn't a champion. You know what I mean? Like, could you put your money behind Reese McLaren if he was a champion to push, you know, the the promotion, the organization in Australia? That's the question, right? Like, if John Wayne Parr came in, John Wayne Parr he's retired basically, so it's hard to put anything behind John Wayne Parr. But let's say John Wayne Parr was like 28 years old, yeah, that's a different story. You
Yeah, I
know?
like this idea. You give him a can to get his 100th win. Alma Uniku, yeah, I thought she beat Stamp actually, but she's not done
Yeah,
well
but she
since.
doesn't fight that much, does she?
No, I
Alma?
don't think so.
Yeah, she's
But
very irregular. But
sounds
like
like,
I
yeah,
said,
John Wayne
but with
Parr
these
would have.
fighters, man, like especially from Australia, I think that a lot of them they're just so focused on like going to the UFC that
Yeah,
it kind of pigeonholes them, right? Don't pigeonhole yourself. Go fight for ONE Championship, man. It's not like the UFC is gonna go anywhere. You know what I mean? Like you could go
yeah,
fight for ONE Championship and then fight out your contract and leave and go fight for the
yeah,
PFL. Now, you see a lot of guys going to the PFL now. Their organizations are open now. You know what I mean? They'll sign you, and then once you get, if you want to like fight out your contract, they'll let you fight out your contract. And you can leave. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
not, there's not many situations where like, oh, you're gonna be in these exclusive contracts for 10 years. It's people are smarter now. Fighters are
yeah. I
smarter,
think,
managers are smarter. And yeah, and with these Lumpinee shows, take advantage of that. If they're gonna fly you from Australia to Bangkok to fight, you should take advantage of that situation and go out there and fight. And if you think you're good, if you feel like you're gonna go places with your career, then you should take advantage of that, because that's gonna be a lot of experience for you as an Australian fighter. And maybe you could be that Australian fighter. Maybe you could be that. Maybe you could be the Conor McGregor of Australia. I don't know. You never know. You know what I mean? Because who predicted Conor McGregor to come along? Nobody. You know what I mean? Who predicted Ronda Rousey to come along and do what she did? Nobody. You know what I mean? It just comes out of nowhere, and you don't know who that fighter is that can do it, right? So if you have the opportunity, you know what I mean? If you know people in Australia, fighters, tell them, go fight for ONE Championship, see what you can do. Because they will try to promote you. That's
yeah,
not a lie.
I think the Australians would be, if they could get some good Australian fighters, be way more valuable to ONE than Brazilians, because ONE's got a lot of Brazilian fighters, but they don't seem to connect at all with the Asian market. And I don't know how Australians would do, but they have their own market there, right? And I just don't see much. Sorry, I'm hitting my mic there. We have some great Brazilian fighters and champions in ONE, but unless they're like Thailand or Asia based, I don't see the point of sort of having so many Brazilian fighters if they're based in Brazil or based in America. But it would be different if ONE takes off in the US. Then they've got a lot of US fighters, and then. But I'm thinking, Lumpini. Yeah, let's create an ecosystem of Asia-based fighters or Australia-based, and then you can have your American fighters on the US cards and your European fighters. They're trying to create an ecosystem of sorts in Europe, aren't they, with Road to ONE? But
Yeah.
we'll see. Uh, any word what happened to the numbered shows beyond kickboxing? What's up, guys? Love your content. They seem like an afterthought now that we have Amazon and Lumpini shows. Yeah, they've stopped doing them. I don't know if in the canonical history of ONE that the Prime Video or Fight Night shows would carry on the numbered show legacy. I'm interested to know about that. Or if they bring back the numbers. My feeling is they're going to bring back the numbered shows later this year. And we're going to see the double header thing again. Even though those are brutal. But yeah, I just think they have too many fighters to not do these evening shows. And if they want to put on a big show in Manila, it has to be in the evening. It can't be in the morning. I was there for both. The morning stadium was 3/4 empty. Like maybe half if you're being generous. It was just people aren't going to turn up at that time of day. They're really not. So if we're going back to Manila, if we're going to Tokyo, it's got to be the evening. So that means they need to bring these evening shows back, I think, because they have to fulfill the Prime Video stuff. Anyway, the double.
There's two shows. Yeah. There's 2 shows in Bangkok coming up, March 10th and March 17th.
Oh no!
Oh, those are Friday fights. Sorry, my bad. My bad. I thought. See, that's why the name should change. We should not have Friday fight night, one fight night, and Friday fights because it looks the same.
Yeah. Well, yeah. From what I see, we've just got a monthly Prime Video show now, but Gordon loved the double header era. He says it was so fun. As a fan, I would have loved it, Gordon. As a reporter or as a staff member of ONE Championship, brutal. Because and if you're throwing in Lumpinee into the mix, say they do a Lumpinee Friday night and then they do a double header at Lumpinee or the next day.
That's 3 shows in less than 24 hours.
Yeah, and I know some of the staff from Lumpinee last Friday or the one before the Prime Video show. They're getting like 2-3 hours sleep, man, and it's rough. It's tough, when I don't get much sleep. When you have to be at the arena at 7 a.m., you may not sleep till midnight the night before because I'm always working. You've got content to get out, and then you're not leaving that arena till midnight. You're there for 15, 16 hours. It's I'm not complaining. It's great, but it is tough, and
it's tough, man. It's not an easy thing to do.
You've been doing the Fight Companion, right? Like both of them.
Yeah, even that's hard, and I'm at home. I mean, if you're in the arena, everything's going 100 miles per hour, and I do not envy you at all.
It's fun, but the problem is you don't have time to get the content out. The first show finishes, and you're trying to write up the stories and stuff.
It's fun, but that's the stressful part. Is putting out the content and then putting it out right. And proper without mistakes. That's another problem that you run into.
Yeah, but I don't know how they can do it any other way at the moment, unless this really takes off in the US and let's say the best case scenario, like they sell out the Denver show or wherever it is, Broomfield, Colorado, and then they can establish themselves. Right, we can sell 5,000 tickets in Colorado. If they can create a market there, if they can get a good gate, it looks like tickets are selling well and prices look like they're going to make them a big gate. So that is some solid hard money, right? That opens up more and more opportunities to book more shows, book more arenas, book more fighters. So I got my fingers crossed that it goes well in the US.
Are you going to go there?
I need to find out if SCMP will pay my flight, but it looks quite expensive. It's about $15,000 Hong Kong.
Okay, Hong Kong. I was like, damn, $15,000 US. That's crazy. Yeah. What do you fly first class?
Yeah, but it's about 2,000 to Singapore to Bangkok. So,
that's a huge difference.
Yeah, I'm sure Tom will be there. Oh, but I'd love to be there. It would hurt me inside to to see all these American media turn up and take the glory, and
Historic. It's gonna
they're
be a
gonna ask
historic
all these
event
stupid questions. I think they need one of the OGs from I've been covering it for a few years now, and it'd be a shame if I missed this one. It's going to be a huge card, so I'll do my best to get out there.
for sure. You're gonna be in Singapore in
Yeah,
March.
yeah, for sure.
So you're gonna be in Singapore in March. Then you got April 22nd in Bangkok. Then you got May 5th in
Yeah, it's
Denver
going to
or
be.
Broomfield, Colorado.
It's a tight turnaround as well there. So
That is, huh? That's like what? That's like 2 weeks.
yeah, it's a week back in Hong Kong, I guess, and then I'd fly off. So
Yeah, it's not bad, man. It's
no,
good to be
no,
busy, man. It's good to be
it is.
busy.
Yeah, it is. I'm happy to do it. We did that last year. We had the Singapore show, and then Manila was a couple weeks later, I think.
That's right.
When do you think we'll get another 1 century type show?
Never.
Well, it won't be long before they're up to 150, right? So
Well, the thing is, I don't think
maybe
that
they've
they're
already
gonna put
passed that.
together those types of cards anymore because it's just they have to spread it out now. I think that's the thing.
Yeah, there's always a drop off after those ones because they've blown all the talent. Like,
Yeah, there was just too much. I think they learned from that. I mean, it's great to have the shows and
yeah,
everything, but you got to kind of spread the talent out, right?
but I think they have so much good talent now that they could do these things. These double headers are all amazing. If you look, the talent on show, in the Manila morning show, you've got Derrida and Malakin. We were meant to have Itsuki. Oh no, that was Singapore. You know what I mean? You've got Todd and Rodriguez that fell through, but then you've got the Filipino show in the evening. You've got a strawweight MMA title fight, Pasio Brooks. Got all the Lakai guys. You got Brandon Vera, Ali Akbari, like retirement fight. You've got so many things. You had Soldich. They have a lot of talent to pack out shows. So bottom line for me, they have to start bringing back the Asia show, as they call it, or the numbered ones, whatever you want to say, because if we can tie it into the theme of the show, you're going to get more and more disgruntled people if you don't offer them fights, right? And that's going to cause problems, like we've seen.
Well, it's gonna be great it's great if you're in Bangkok, because every Friday,
Yeah,
you get crazy fights, man,
yeah.
live.
I mean, I think we're going to see more fighters from the main roster go on Lumpinee, and
Oh, you got
just
to.
just to get a fight. But then it's up to one to position that as not a demotion or not a step
Yeah, I
down.
don't think it's a demotion though. You know what I mean? Like, have them. You should be having them main event these Friday fight cards. You know what I mean? Like, like a Martin versus whoever. Like Martin versus I don't know. But like those types of fighters, right? They're like top
Yeah,
contenders, or that's why you need a top 10. So those
yeah.
top 10s, you could line them up for like co-main or main events in Lumpinee.
But then the
And
problem is
basically,
you've got to put because the second half of the show is on Channel 7 in Thailand, and then that's got to be all Muay Thai basically. So,
oh, that's right.
but the first half, yeah, you can maybe do a Martin v someone, but it's still going to feel like they're on a prelim, because in the arena it's like
It's all about Muay
7:30.
Thai.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
don't care.
I'm not complaining about the Muay Thai fights though, man.
No,
They're
it's
always
great.
fun.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
But I see what you're saying. Like they got contractual obligations with TV networks. So what can you do?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if there's anything else to discuss. I haven't really got any other news, I think. A lot of stuff happened recently, but I'm trying to think what we could mention. If there is anything, I'm happy to just leave it and perhaps come back next week. But I'm trying to. I'm just gonna look see if there's anything glaring I've forgotten. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll do some sort of preview of Fight Night 8. I don't think there's anything else to discuss that hasn't. Well, we had the fallout from Fight Night 7 already. Maybe it's a little too late to talk about that stuff, but I guess the other thing we didn't mention was Ritu Phogat also has kind of
Oh
been
yeah, what's that?
hinted at. Yeah. Well, yeah, the Indian media said she's signed an exclusive 3-year deal with this Indian promotion called Kumite One League, which has only ever held one event, I think, and it was 2017. So sounds really random, but there's even a quote from her on it, and we asked, and then initially we're told, yeah, Ritu's gone, and then later we're told, oh no, she's still under exclusive contract with ONE. So there's twice, in a couple of weeks we've sort of been told one thing and then it's turned out the other. So I feel like there's some moving parts at play here, and it's a tough situation for everyone because contracts are tricky things to but I don't know. Ritu's not exactly come out and said anything on social media herself, saying, "Yeah, I'm leaving ONE. I'm still in ONE." It's quite confusing. I don't know what's going on with her.
Doesn't she train at Evolve?
Yeah, so she's moved back to India though, so I think she's gone
Okay.
from Evolve. Yeah,
Okay.
because she just got married maybe late last
Oh, she
year
did.
or early this year.
Oh, I didn't even
Yeah,
know that.
and she looks really happy. So I think she just wants to leave Singapore. So I don't know what's going on, but
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? Like right now, you got all these like back to back to back like contractual
yeah,
disputes, right, with these
yeah,
different fighters from all across the world at the same time. It's
yeah,
very odd.
yeah. I think. Oh, I don't know what's going on with Ritu. Yeah, honestly, if she left, would I be upset? Not too upset. I think she didn't progress as much as we thought she might. She came in with that wrestling pedigree, but if you compare her to Stamp Fairtex, I think Stamp really kicked on.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, I don't think Ritu took that next level. Well, she was working along her striking. She promised to show that off against Tiffany, but Tiffany completely shut her down.
Yeah.
But in her defense, Tiffany was pretty heavy. I think she weighed 10 pounds heavier than her weigh-in. They do these post-fight weights after the fights now, and I actually saw the results for that one. I haven't seen them since. I've been asking a few times, but I can't seem to get my hand on them. So yeah, I don't blame Rita. She was 10 pounds lighter than Tiffany, and Tiffany manhandled her really. But uh, maybe she could have eventually got back to challenge for the title. I don't know.
It's I don't know. I think
She got a big fan base, and
she's
I could see why
she's
one were pushing her.
she's the talent is there. I just think that she just didn't. I just think that she didn't get the right coaching. To be honest with you, I just think she didn't get the right training. Um, and Stamp clearly she's been coached by some very very
Yeah,
you know comp competent coaches throughout the years, and we've seen it in her performances, right, in her
yeah,
development. I just think that Ritu wasn't coached really well because you could see it in her performances. She looked better, but it's not like what we expected out of her. We expected her to be a world champion within a few years, right? Like, or at least be giving like fight of the year candidates in title fights, right? But that just never happened. And sometimes she looked good, and sometimes she looked
mm.
very, very mediocre.
Yeah. I wonder what she would she get better coaching in India? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
to me, if she has moved back there to fight in this regional promotion, it feels like she's not too serious about being the best she could be. Because what's the
Yeah,
competition going to be like there?
yeah. And I like I've heard about the promotion like from a few years back, but there's nothing like that says that she will be fighting
Yeah,
the best of the best. You know what I mean? It's just that's just that's just the reality of it, right?
yeah. All right. Well, I'll quickly say, ask Chatch about hydration. I didn't get to interview Chatchery last time. The MMA on point thing. I did have a lengthy conversation with Dr. Warren Wang, who runs the hydration testing on stage during the weigh-in. For about half an hour, talked. I ran through a lot of the points from that documentary, and he counted a lot of them and had some very interesting things to say. And I asked maybe we could do an interview with him. He said I've got to clear it with one, so I'm hoping to hook that up for you guys in Singapore, maybe. So just to give them a chance to get their side out, but we'll see. I'll hopefully ask Chatri what he thinks, but I feel like they won't want to see like they're validating it by responding to it. Do you know what I mean? So
Well, Rich Franklin was on it, so
yeah, and he was probably the worst guy they could have put up to. They should have got this doctor on, because he actually says
yeah.
things in a coherent, competent manner, and he knows
Well,
what he's talking about when
well,
it
the
comes to it.
guy, the doctor that's in the documentary was talking about how he was helping fighters pass the hydration
Yeah,
tests. So, you know,
but this doctor said he made some good points. I'm trying to paraphrase, but he's like, he actually pointed out some guy passed the test recently, and he said, "No, you're not." He looked at his eyes and could see he was fucked. Oh, sorry to swear. So he sent him back, and then he came back later and was dehydrated. So they caught the guy clearly doing what this doctor had told him, right? Or maybe no, maybe that might not be what the case. Sorry, he caught the guy trying to find a way to get on the system. As he says, this doctor says, I'm on stage not only to just put the stick in. It's like he's actually a doctor looking for signs of dehydration. And if
mhm.
someone comes on stage looking, and he knows the signs, right? It's in the eyes, it's in the face, it's in the way. If you're like wobbling, he can tell very quickly if someone's dehydrated to a dangerous degree. So interesting point I thought he was making. I'm not saying he's wrong or right. I think it would be great to get him on camera talking about it. I really do, just to get one side across, because they haven't said anything, and I think they need to respond. So
Oh yeah, yeah. They should respond because you can't
yeah,
believe everything one side says. You know what I
no,
mean? You can't believe everything one doctor says because, like in any ailment, you go to multiple doctors. You get different
yeah, right,
opinions, right? And that's what you need. You need different opinions because what one championship is doing is, something that is unprecedented, right? No one's doing it in this sport. So of course there's gonna be
yeah,
problems. Look at USADA. What a
yeah.
trash can dumpster fire that is over there. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
I think
but they're trying to do their best. You know what I mean?
yeah, the what they're trying to do is stop people making dangerous weight cuts, and they've done it. You might argue it's not fixed the problem because you're still getting people coming in heavier, and they're cheating the system an advantage, but they're not having anyone, with a life-threatening weight cut or taking years off their life by doing these 20-pound cuts. That simply is not happening. Like,
Yeah. Well, the thing is that I don't like is that there's fighters following the protocol to like a T, and then there's
yeah,
fighters cheating the system,
yeah,
which gives them
agreed.
an advantage entering the fight. That's just
Yeah,
the reality. But I see that in other things in fighting as well. You know what I mean?
yeah. And
So
when I asked about that, the doctor said, "Oh, but we have a post-fight weight system now. So if you get caught being heavier after the fight, you get fined. Then um, you can't compete in that weight class anymore if you do a second one, and then the third one is you get released or something like that."
mhm.
And I said, "That's great. You got to show these results now." Yes, let me see the results. I'll put them out on my Instagram. We'll
Yeah.
put a story up with all the results. And then he doesn't know. He's like, all right, well, ask them for it. And I was like, I have asked. He's like, okay, well, I can't do anything. So I think if one really wants to show the transparency, show these post-fight weight results, and then you're going to shut everyone up. If you're showing that so and so weighed within whatever the limit is, I think it's 5%, or if you're over a certain amount, yeah, you get the fine. If you do that, I think people are going to trust you more.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what people believe, but I'm gonna tell you this: no promotion, no organization has 100% transparency, and
No,
no commission has 100%
no,
transparency. I don't care what promotion, what organization you are in this world, you don't have 100% transparency. It's just the reality.
yeah. And I give one credit for trying to increase the transparency over the last 5,
Oh,
6 months.
they
Yeah,
have,
they have.
right? But then there's all these people trying to criticize, like, oh, they need to be more transparent. But then what promotion are you watching that is 100% transparent, that is showing
Yeah,
everything? None. So, let's keep that criticism, equal for everybody. Because I criticize One Championship a lot, but I'm
yeah.
realistic about it, right? Like, I'm
I
not just
criticize
saying,
them, but
yeah,
I
you too.
praise them, and I call a spade a spade. So, that's what I try to do. And if I think there's a way they can improve it, it is just release these post-fight weight results, and then
Mhm.
we'll see if someone was 10 pounds heavier, if they were 20 pounds heavier, then we know that they cheated the system, and then we fine them. We we ban them from the weight class. Like let's put this into practice. Come on, and maybe they are doing it already, but we're not seeing it. So how do we know if it's true? As Colleen Hand says, though, I don't think it matters what system they bring in. People always try to cheat it, gaining that advantage. Yeah, right. There's always going to be ways
It's
around
sports.
everything. So
It's sports, man.
it's
Sports is all
sports. Yeah,
sports is about cheating. It's just
yeah,
it's just the reality of it, man. And I think if you can point it out, point it out. If you can you know, if you can find out who's cheating and put them on blast, I think you should put them on blast and play fair with everyone. Don't have favorites,
yeah,
and that's in organizations. There's always going to be favorites. There's always going to be favorites. It's a company like every other entity in this world, right? It's a business, and
yeah.
One Championship, UFC, PFL, Bellator, all of it, they're all doing the same thing. You know what I mean? They're all playing favorites. They're all less than 100% transparent. You know what I mean? It's just the reality of the sport.
I mean, why would you be 100% transparent when you run your own? You kind of live by your own rules, right? To a
Exactly.
degree. If you're a promotion, you can control your whole.
You could control the destiny in a
Yeah,
way.
it's not. It's not like it's not as much as pro wrestling, but in pro
Yeah.
wrestling, you can control everything, right? So
Yeah. That's a beautiful business right there, where you
yeah,
could control every single detail to the
but you
T.
can
You know what I
pretty
mean?
much control everything apart from the outcome of the fight.
Yeah. Pro wrestling, you could and it's accepted that you can
Yeah,
control
but
everything.
MMA,
You can't. Then it's
you book the
illegal.
fights. You
It's
decide
illegal.
who fights who. You're not bound by any league table, or
Yeah.
I mean the PFL try to do it, but still, they choose the first round matchups, and you you're not bound by, unless it's a Grand Prix, right? You've got your tournament brackets, but even then, that stuff just falls apart all the time. So you are literally able to book someone against someone else, whoever you want. So yeah. Anyway, people incapable of giving one credit says stand the fist. I think that is true to a degree. A lot of people are always going to hate on one because they did a lot of damage to their reputation a while ago. And they're taking steps to be more transparent, like we said. So I hope people can see the positive steps they make, but also to still accept when there is fair criticism. It's right to still point it out. So otherwise, you're never going to improve. You'll never grow.
No.
Anyway, why does Chatri hate
Just
Anissa?
remember, just
I
remember,
don't
they're
think
the
he does.
youngest organization, outside of the PFL.
Yeah, and I feel
So,
they restarted as well a few times in terms of
yeah.
they're sort of version 4 or 5 now, aren't they?
Yeah. And they've always had. Let's keep it real. They've always kind of been. Uh, they've always started like a couple feet behind everyone else. The reason why is because they're an Asia-based promotion. Let's just keep it real. Like if you're in North America, like the PFL, which was the World Series of Fighting, they get the ESPN deal. Why? Because they're a North American promotion, right? Like it just works out that way. That's why it's been so hard for one championship, because they're based in Asia. It's the truth,
Yeah, and MMA was not a thing in Asia not
No.
long ago, right? It didn't exist until.
Well,
what,
it's been in Asia for a long time, but it's just not like
yeah, but you're
North
also
America
convincing.
turned it into what it is right now. Let's just
Yeah,
let's just
and
say it like that.
you have a huge problem, or
Audience.
you have a problem on your hands, like trying to convince Thai people to invest in MMA the way they invest in Muay Thai, and you're dealing with audiences like Japan who are very accustomed to RIZIN, I guess, and Pride before that, and it's hard to crack markets. There's like 6 or 7 different markets. It's not one market
They're
like
all
America.
different. Yeah,
They're all so different. You've got to play to each market.
differently.
Anyway, that's for another day.
Yeah,
I think we'll end it here. Hour and a half. So
there you go. Perfect.
Sorry there. John, what do you got going on
Well,
this week?
I got a lot going on over at the All Star. You guys go to the All Star, go subscribe to their channel, and then go download the All Star app, and you guys can make picks on fights on the app. We're actually combining like Fanatics and Fight Picks all into the All Star app. So now we're going to be all in one. So everybody is joining forces, so to say.
So Fight Picks was acquired. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I'd heard about this for a while ago from James.
So yeah. So and then also I have a pick show every Friday morning in Asia, which is Thursday night in the US, live, and we go through all the fights, like the UFC fights, and make picks, and I use the app on the show. So go check that out as well. And join me, man. I'm pretty good at picks. Like last week I went 11-3. My total for the year is pretty good, man. I just started like fake betting. So let's see what I do on the fake betting stuff.
Do you do picks on ONE, or like, is there any gambling involved? Like, I know some people find it hard to get odds.
No, like the picks that we do is there's no gambling unless you want to gamble, but me, I don't gamble. So like I just make picks, and then you could accumulate points, and then you could get prizes from the points, and then like win contests, play against your friends. It's kind of like what Fanatics was doing, but just a little bit more advanced.
Oh, it looks fun. I'll check it out. I was wondering what had happened to Fanatics. Yeah, if it was still up and running, because
it's still there.
I haven't looked at it for a long time.
Yeah, me either. But it's still there. It's just now we're gonna combine it.
That's good.
We're gonna go forces.
Yeah, and the app is still All-Star, still going strong, right?
Yeah, of course, man. It's rolling.
Yeah, everyone, please help out John. Download it and interact with them there. You're doing a weekly show as well with Dan Hooker after Ritu Phogat.
No, I'm doing the weekly show with like a different guest every week. So I'll bring on like somebody that actually gambles on fights, that knows about every single fight on the card. So we break down every single fight, like from top to bottom. Like this is what we're looking at, and then I'll make my picks from like the advice that he gives me, and then also the knowledge that I have on the fights or the fighters. So yeah, that's how it works. Just come by or just go to the YouTube and download or subscribe, and then you'll find out.
Yeah, if you haven't, please check that out, everyone. John's a great friend of the show, and he does the fight companions for us, and it was here in the beginning when we launched this whole channel. And
it's been a while. It hasn't been that long, but it's been a while. We put in a lot of work, man.
Yeah, it's funny to see, even if we're doing different things, it's always great to come back. I was just so happy to do a show with you again. It's been a long time. I can't remember when we did this. So,
well, we're doing our thing, but we're still here. We're still connected some way. And I just remember us doing a live fight companion, and we had like 100,000
Yeah.
people at one time. That was insane, and hopefully we'll have that again.
Yeah, you guys did some good numbers. The last one I saw, I think.
Yeah, but we didn't have that 100,000 on the live show like we did before. That was
Still getting
crazy.
a lot of traffic and a lot of subscribers for the channel, which is what it's all
For sure.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're up to like 35K now, I think, nearly.
Well, it's one championship, man. Whatever you need for one championship, you're gonna get on this channel. So if you're not subscribed to it and you're watching it right now, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Nobody covers the promotion
Yeah,
like the South China Morning Post.
yeah. Hopefully that's what I want, and good and bad. We'll always cover the good, but if there's something we need to talk about, a negative thing, we won't shy away from it as well. I hope people understand that, and I think it's important to do it. I like to I'm a straight shooter. I don't want to shy away from things like Meksen. We're going to talk about it.
Exactly.
Anyway, why isn't this
We'll
on
be back next week.
Spotify? Sorry, anonymous. I'll try. I have been long meaning to get this on Spotify. Do you have yours on Spotify, John?
Yeah, you gotta.
I'll talk
I
to you
think the
about
easiest
maybe.
way is to like download this recording, and then you gotta
Yeah.
put it onto what was it called? Let me see. It
RSS feed.
it is it's called Anchor. So Anchor
Okay.
is owned by Spotify. So if you download it
Cool.
on Anchor, then like it goes to Spotify. It uploads it onto Spotify.
Okay. Cheers. I'll look into that because I don't actually use Spotify myself, but I have a few people asking me, if we could put it on there, so why not? Anyway, yeah, we've done an hour and a half, so we'll leave it there. Thanks, JHK, and go check him out at JHK MMA, the All Star. I'm Nico SCMP. You know where to find me. We'll be back hopefully, next week. If not, I've got Alan Nalani in the studio tomorrow, SCMP. So look for that to drop. I've also spoke to Sexy Armor, the man himself.
Okay.
Or Tuesday morning, Monday morning. So that'll be up this week, and got a few other things in the pipeline. We got Artem Belak I spoke to. He runs with Anatoly and Fabricio at Tiger Muay Thai, Russian prospect in ONE. Tom Taylor's always talking to people. So plenty of content coming away. Thanks, JHK, again, and we'll see you all soon, I'm sure.